Enough to waste every bit of ice. I can hear your thoughts loud and clear. You don't need to say a thing, my dear. Pretend that I'm not here. All I seek is some honesty, a stray of light in my darkest fears. I know you know, I know that you don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. My love, oh my love, oh my love. Lucky me, I have thick skin, as I'm sure I would give in. Fall apart, let you go and break my heart. Lucky me, I have thick skin, as I'm sure I would give in. I know, you know, I know. You don't care about my life, care about my life. Look at me, I have thick skin. You don't care about my life, care about my life.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is the Elite Invite continuing second mixed round of the day. And we have a bumper matchup for you, as, to be fair, all the matchups are this weekend. Sesquidsitus from Strasbourg in France take on Estonia's Tartu Turbulence. Benjamin Rees, delighted to be with you for this one. Hannah Pendlebury, I'm pretty sure you can sense the excitement. I'm positively vibrating with energy about this. I think this could be an absolute cracker.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a heartbeat, Benji. I had a little glimpse earlier on in this tournament of Tartu Turbulence, went and sat on the sideline of their game against Deep Space, the Helen Terra Jakob Tam connection. It's just not fair, Benji. It's just plain not fair. But
not bad.
Sesquidsitus, I'm sure, will have a great job at overcoming their opponents, because of course they're a fantastic French outfit, and Gaël Lancelot, after picking up for the Open Division 2 last weekend, puts that one immediately to the sky.
Well, I'm not sure about the decision for that one, because there was coverage with it all the way. Amsterdam clearly had the faith in his teammate, but the faith was not repaid. Two defenders there converging to prevent it going into hand, and an early break chance here for Tartu Turbulence. Big pump fake down that far sideline. Terra wants it short, but not there. Now stall count rapidly ticking up, floated over the top. Can it be reeled in? No. Tornason was not far away, but not far away was not close enough.
Yeah, a nice idea. If you're going to have to just chuck it and hope on a high stall situation, that way that bladed over to the soft side of the pitch was very nice.
So a second shot on this point for the French. to get on the board. Ancelin's looking deep again, and this time it's bang on the money, just fading that one over to the far side for Loris Petitot, and it's a 1-0 start, a hold, not a clean hold, but a hold nonetheless for Sesquidsitus.
Yeah, second asking possession much better. You could really see the way that this set up. I've had an attempt at the foot block, but just the big poach off, sitting underneath is fine, but that far away from your matchup, we can't be doing that when we've got a thrower like Gael en slant with the disc in hand. There's bracketing, and then there's just being far too far away.
Adjustments certainly, but plenty of time left in this game. Of course, that's the 1 point so far. For those of you unfamiliar with the format of the games, they are first to 15 with a half at 8, or if you haven't reached the time cap, the point cap by 80 minutes, finish the point, add 1 to the highest score. That becomes your new score limit, and we've got the same for like a mini half cap as well. But given the quality of these two teams out there, the overwhelming majority of the games this weekend so far have gone all the way to 15. It would not surprise me if this is another. Here's the breakout star of last year, Jakob Tam, charging off deep, and they're going to call his number. Kofi in coverage, and Tam just plucks it with relative aplomb from over the top, and then Marin Rabber lays out to secure the score as well. Well, Jakob Tam showing while he's a real stat stuffer, opening it up with the deep strike, receives, and then gave Rabber work to do. But I think the way we talk about Helen Terra now is the way we could be talking about Marin Rabber in the future.
Oh, absolutely. One good player can inspire another to greatness. Rabber just readjusting all of her various accoutrements after that play. But what a big, fantastic bid it was. Just keeps the eyes on the prize, and like a hunter, just snatching that one out of the air. Big old bosh of whiplash to contend with, but hopefully she'll be okay, and as you say, be able to go on to continue doing moves just like that for Tartu Turbulence. Just the one non-Estonian on this roster, Kamila Resnikaite, who's of course a Lithuanian star.
But there's very much a Baltic flavour to this roster.
Absolutely. No kind of, far away superstars coming across, but Sesquidsitus shooting deep again, Benji.
And that is a complete blown coverage, and Petitot just about recovers and gets away with it. He was so open that I think he was a little confused and was looking around as if maybe there was a defender there, but no, and it meant he had time to adjust for his second and Sesquidsitus' second goal of the game. I'm not sure what the defensive strategy was there. I don't think that was it.
No, Maël Barantin with a lovely flick, but just, perhaps a bit too much time. Sometimes, I still remember we had a player at my university team, Benji, who got what they called the Stiffy Award. It had to be difficult. It had to be a hard catch to make in order for it to be successful. But maybe that being the case there for Petitot.
Tartu Turbulence getting ready to go back out there. Jakob Tam, hand in the air, ready to receive the pull. It's been so exciting seeing the emergence of the Estonians over the past couple of years. They've only really just switched to outdoors. Their indoor season, as you might expect, given they're in the Baltics. Their indoor season is a lot longer than it is elsewhere in Europe, so they've only just made the switch to outdoors, and there was maybe a little bit of adjustment in their first game. There's a nice toe-in on this sideline there.
I have to respect any ultimate team that takes indoors seriously.
As Tartu squeeze it down the sideline, the veteran Christian Luritz played for a long time in Denmark with KFK. He gets on the scoreboard to make it 2s.
Saying that, he's a bit passé, he's a bit too old. there are plenty of ultimate athletes punching well into the numbers regarding their age, and they are still absolutely in tip-top shape and condition, and Lawrence is definitely one of those folks.
Hey, if you're good enough, you're old enough. That's what I was told.
Well, either way, all level in this game. Tartu and Terra looking to uncork another big pull.
Ansalan lays out a backhand for Petitot. Got a runner striking deep. Lernol towards the end zone. And after the early mishap, Sesquidsitus really have found their stride offensively, although Shanae, I think, maybe wasn't happy about having to work quite so hard for that one.
Yeah, stride being the pivotal word there, having to catch that one fully extended, but makes it look surprisingly easy. I always like to think of that as like a tambourine catch, like you're going to grab it out there and shake it. You know, so some percussive elements going on, but I have to say I'm enjoying the way that Sesquidsitus are playing. It's very big, it's very kind of all guns blazing affair, and they are, to their credit, coming off with them totally fine.
Yeah, Sesquidsitus had a disappointing season last year, I think, in all honesty. They had a really good day one of Elite Invite after they won the event in 2022, and then floundered a little bit on the second day, and then coming to qualify for EUCF, they lost the final on Universe Point to Monkey, and then, unfortunately, they lost the game to go on Universe Point to Manchot, so they came to 1 point away twice from booking their place at the big dance, and unfortunately just couldn't quite get it over the line at the end. But we know the quality they have as Jakob Tam unleashes a booming flick, and it's in and out of the hand.
Yeah, every opportunity was there to make a play on the disc for Daniel Tedder, but just rolled off the fingertips in an unpleasant fashion.
Tiffaine Lachi picks up, and Michon dishing it off towards the far side. Here's Kofi. Goes all with the offhand backhand and delivered it a little bit late, so it flutters to turf. Christian Loritz, well, he's calling the number again of Daniel Tedder, and this time it comes up trumps. I like that, having the confidence. You're making the cut, you're open, so I'm going to throw it. I have that trust that you'll get it right this time.
Yeah, you have to reward the right options in the same way of sometimes people just have those funny 5 minutes, but at this level, you know that all of the athletes coming out here for both Tartu Turbulence and Sesquidsitus, they're not going to make those same mistakes twice in a row, 3 times in a row. They are the sort of players that, I mean, to be fair, if you do start getting to that kind of pain cave where your game just starts to fall apart.
The what, sorry? The pain cave?
Pain cave.
Okay, yep, sure.
Yep, they talk about it in running and being in the pain cave of, you know, you're just locked in a battle of horrible endurance. But in pain cave, you don't really have so much endurance necessarily in Frisbee, especially at this level. You have big rosters to rely back on. Of course, there is a bit of a personnel difference between
there is
Tartu
some
and
disparity,
Sesquidsitus.
certainly.
But yeah, it's the pain cave, I think, in Ultimate is more when you just get locked in a mental battle inside your own head and you keep making unforced errors.
Okay, Ansalan strides to the brick mark. Has it checked in, starts by going underneath towards the near side where Antoine to the befeathered Charnay. Barontin threatens the around, doesn't like it at the first opportunity, will take it at the second to Petitot. Now just trying to run it between themselves in the backfield. The upline to Barontin, force flashes across from Donisson. And now Evan Charnay again. Barontin wants it out of her hands quickly and is able to do so. Lovely change of direction And I will say that they're very alert on the force to sag into those lanes and prevent that continuation from happening. But it does open up the brake side options, and now Petitot has it towards the far side of the field. Having a quick look at Ansalan and then stops because there's been a call downfield. Pick potentially?
Yep, I believe so, Benji. And this is, I think, the longest offensive possession we've seen for Sesquidsitus so far.
Yeah, clearly an adjustment by Tartu to think, let's make you go the long way round, and the bid comes in, and when the force sells all out and it doesn't get there, you are prone, and all you can do is just watch the simplest of passes over your head, and Ansalan finds Petitot once more, who is really being a finisher for them early in this one. That's his third goal of Sesquidsitus' 4, and it's 4-3.
Yeah, very big distributor. Gaël Ancelan mentioned it very briefly to get another look at that fake. It's not even the fake, it's just trying to spoil. But interestingly on that bid, Benji, considering where the force was and where the disc ended up going to and where the threat was from that near side matchup, it's an interesting shape on that sort of flashing layout, because I mean, that might kind of spook a player, I guess, if it's very physical defense that's happening right there. Obviously still very clean, not touching a hair on the other player's head. But you're not going to spook Gaël Ancelan doing that.
No, it was ambitious, and if it come off, he would have looked like an absolute hero. But yeah, it was somewhat gratuitous in the end. Tam breaks to go downfield to Rabe. Able to get it infield to Pello, and now gets it back under tight coverage there from Saint-Jean. Rabe sells the mark out, and the throw died a little bit, but not a problem for Terra. Terra to the end zone for Tam. Get used to hearing that, not just this game, not just this season, but for seemingly eternity. And Terra to Tam puts us at 4s.
Watching the Tartu Turbulence deep space game earlier, I have to say in the late stages there were at least 3 points in quick succession, if not back to back, where basically Tartu would get a block or have the disc, and pretty much either Helen Terra or Jakob Tam would throw one to the other. Usually Tam to Terra. This time we get a flip reversal of those fortunes. But Terra really is such an impressive athlete. Just the poise and positioning she has, just so experienced, and a really fantastic leader as well. You can tell why people really want to play Frisbee with her. Shout out to, of course, the fact she'll be playing on Euro Trash again this season at Windmill Tournament.
Helen Terra confirmed trash, you heard it here first. Barentin. Can Ansalan squirrel his way free thanks to a leading throw from Barentin? He can. Petitot is wide open. They're trying to sit and clog this underneath space here for Sesquidsitus and just muddy the field of vision there. So far, the French not falling into the trap. Getting a little more involvement downfield. Maton.
Love that cheeky little release from Gaël Ancelan, the throw and go on the forehand release. So difficult to execute. That man's core strength is just off.
He's one of the best in the game at that quick getting it out and getting that momentum and motion going in front, getting the disc back and just shredding through teams. The offhand is going to lead. Ansalan doesn't need to bid. He's got more than the speed and goes for the offhand himself as Barentin uncovers herself to the front of the end zone. And we're still on serve. No breaks so far. In fact, scarcely any turns either. Very clean game from both sides.
Well, this is exactly what we expect to see. I mean, we talked about the points cap at the beginning of the game, Benji, and how pretty much every game has managed to get to it. Some of them in faster fashion than others, with their opponents' scores not quite reaching the same lofty heights.
But generally this tournament, you are going to get close games as Barentin's wearing mismatched shoes.
It's become apparently a bit of a thing. We were talking about this earlier on in the week. We had a little brief pop of the head into a Brussels training.
You were saying.
And yeah, I think it's Lison Bourneau always wears mismatched cleats now.
Is that because her sister Ava wears the other half?
I don't know, maybe that's the thing, like, you know, twinsies, twin feet, that sort of vibe.
So Tartu working out of a 3-4 horizontal setup to start. They're isolating Tam in the centre and Sesquidsitus going with a zone on their own to try and stymie the flow. I remember seeing the Estonian national team at Windmill last year have a little bit of trouble at times unpicking their way through the zone. But so far at this point, it's been assured, I think.
Well, if they're just finished playing indoors, then the conditions out here are perfect, Benji. There's absolutely not even a drop of wind out here today.
Yeah, we really could be playing in a dome somewhere rather than out here on the lush grass of Leuven.
Yeah, so if you've got the range, why not?
Tam. Ooh, pops that one up. A foul on the mark. Quickly accepted there by Wagenpritz. Tam might take on this break. Goes for the indoor style throw. The scuba plucked with aplomb by Rabba. Now Rabba into the centre. Running, reaching grab by Taylor. Back to Rabba. Just a couple of yards from Pader. Going to break, and quick hand speed there. Lightning fast to snatch it away from Michon, who was closing for the block. And that is 5 apiece. Again, these sides looking... Well, it doesn't look like the first tournament of the season for Tartu Turbulence and Sesquidsitus. They've only got a couple of games in the algorithm so far from French nationals, and they currently sit second with just those 2 games in the book. But both of them look very much in late season form, offensively at least here.
I don't know, Benji. I think there was moments towards the end of that offensive possession for Tartu where things did look a little bit scrabbly, a little bit scratchy, and that last pass is a touch symptomatic of that. Not exactly the most comfortable offense, but it doesn't have to look pretty, doesn't even have to be pretty, it just has to be effective, and that will give the goal, and a timeout being called here.
Both sides getting an opportunity to see what they can scheme up defensively. Sitting tied at 5s here, just under 20 minutes gone, such is the pace of this game here at the Elite Invite. Elite Invite live from Leuven. Benji Rees and Hannah Pendlebury in the booth for Sesquidsitus versus Tartu Turbulence. The side had mixed fortunes in the morning. For Sesquidsitus, a nice solid win to start, 15-10 over the Germans' disconnection, and Tartu Turbulence, a tough one, went down 15-13 to the reigning European champions Deep Space, which is certainly not it's a respectable result, but obviously you're not coming here to play teams close, you're coming here to win, even though I think by their own admittance, Tartu Turbulence, still got a lot of growing to do, both individually and as an outfit at this level. Barentin has an option on the sideline. Antoine looking in field. Anselan plants, stops, comes back, unveils himself, and now Petito. Back to Antoine. Charnay uses his body as a barrier to shield away the defender, and then just floats one up line for Anselan. Barentin active at the front of the end zone, clears out. Can Anselan get the disc off? Rakes the break around. Petito, low release continues. And Ansalan lays but can't get there. First turnover we've seen in a while, and just slowing down Sesquidsitus enough to force the error.
Yeah, Benji, that was a really nice idea. You could see what Petitot was trying to achieve, but just not quite enough wrist snap on the release.
And Tartu Turbulence striking deep immediately. Defender close, but not close enough. Ilves back to Terra, coming over to play some defense, although with a shorter roster there'll be a few players who play both ways. Can they fit it down the line to Tam? Foul called on contact for Ansalan.
Yeah, you could see before the disc sort of arrived in the area, so maybe that's what the chat will be about here. But if it throws you off balance by virtue of big contact.
Can't quite see it from that angle. But I think you can kind of see what Tam's saying, that you're coming across my line there. There's contact on the hip. We'll get it here from the high cam. Ansalani sees what's coming. Oh, is there contact on the left calf maybe? That's,
I don't know, I see a little bit of potential elbow in there. Of course it is, I mean, as much as we love to watch our slow motion replays, it is still all about how it feels rather than how it looks necessarily. So one day we'll get you a pitch mic so we can listen into exactly what the discussion is.
Yeah, obviously it's one thing how we see it, but of course the important thing is what the players on the field agree happened. And how many times have we been in the booth and we've seen something and like, oh, it's pretty clear what happened, and then the players on the field agree the exact opposite. It's like, oh, well, shows what we know anyway. But it's going to be an accepted foul call there, so Jakob Tan will get it and check it into the front of the end zone because it's an accepted foul rather than a strip, so he has to take it back out. A high floater, not a problem though for the mammoth figure of Tam. And now the Titanic Tam into the end zone as Terra looking around, still count beginning to rise, see the space, sees the receiver, and Tam catches the game's first break. Terra to Tam, and Tartu take it 6-5.
All the T words. I mean, I just really enjoy watching Jakob Tam and Helen Terra play together. You could see the way on the replay. Watch Jakob Tan's movement. The bit of eye contact there. He sees that Terra fakes off someone else and then just sort of like turns the hips side saddle and off he trots. Very indoorsy type play, of course. The last time we saw Tartu Turbulence on our live streams was at the European Indoor Club Championships back in January, and saw those two connecting very frequently. But yeah, outdoors, indoors, as we already mentioned, the conditions are ideal for throwing pretty much whatever you fancy out here.
One thing I will say is that this is not a knock on Anthony Charnay at all, but I'm not sure that's the matchup I would have necessarily have picked out for Jakob Tam, because Tam can be towering in the air, and Charnay, I think, is maybe closer to my height than his opponents on that occasion.
You're trying to say you're not a absolute mountain of a man, Benjamin Rees?
Well, not upwards, no.
But you got hops, right?
I don't think I ever did, even when I was thin. Let's be real here. Maybe some cleverly cropped photos could tell you otherwise, but I assure you I did not. Ansalan to Petitot. Very similar O-line trotting out there for Sesqui, although obviously now we've come through an odd number point. There will be a change in the gender ratio. Barontin catches and has a quick little inside. Chenet. Now, what a bid it was by Petitot. It comes up just short. Was given too much to do on that one by Evan Charnay, but fair play, because he came so close to getting what seemed to have been a lost cause at the time.
Yeah, that little bit of sort of hang time where you're on a string in the air. And is that a block, Benji?
I couldn't quite see. I think they're just saying that it is still a Tartu disc, but clearly Charnay keen to try and make amends for that error. And that one is definitely picked off. Petitot this time does get his hand in the cookie jar and he whips it out. Floated into the end zone for the score, and Sesqui they're being pushed here by Tartu, but that time they were able to just steel themselves and get us level again.
Yeah, talk about getting your matchups right. really great opportunity taken by Lochi Petitot, and making sure that Sesquidsitus do not concede the 2 breaks on a bounce. Of course, that would be rather devilish scenes. But the amount of pressure, the match person coverage that Sesquidsitus is putting on Tartu Turbulence right here, especially for that being their O-line's defense. That is a very, very good sign indeed for the French mixed side. Because if you can keep those screws twisting and turning throughout the course of this game, then you are going to start to really just feel the crunch and grind of your opponents beneath you.
6 apiece here, just the 1 break this game. Gone Tartu Turbulence's way. Not been a point in this game where either side has turned it over more than once. It's the ever-impressive lefty, Justine Bru-Pouls, a champion last year in, well, a mixed at Limerick in EUC, and also for the French women at EMUC out in Bologna at the end of the campaign. They beat GB in the final there. France beat Italy to win the mixed EUC crown. Along, of course, everyone else at the tournament. Those were just the finals. Low, and that's a really good job from Linz to get underneath that one, because I thought for sure that was going to turn. Linz can leave this one because Tara's in position.
Thankful to see that communication rather than a bosh between those 2 athletes.
Oh, Tara's found some space on this side of the field if they can just find a way to get it to her. Screams from the sideliners. Pretty sure that is a transition to match defense coming now from the French, or maybe not. They're just taking time to get some matchups set. I think they are somewhat belatedly in position. Oh, whipping and wrenching the IO flick deep. Tam is just a monster, and all due respect, Moboguet is in pretty good position defensively, but it's always going to be tough going up against a player of that stature.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just what he does. And a little celebration there to our sideline roving cam. Jakob Tam, of course, we did mention earlier the fact that a certain Estonian athlete will be playing for a team at Windmill, but of course Jakob Tam, it's already been announced on social media, so we can talk about it. We'll be playing for...
He's on the super team, the Tokai super team.
The Super Happy Fun mixed team, trying to win Windmill. What do you reckon for their chances, Benji?
I think a solid 6 at least. I'm not going to tell you what it's out of. Although if Steph's listening, I mean 6 out of 5, obviously, nailed on.
Yeah, really,
I assume the check's in the mail, Steph.
Really exciting format, those roster announcements, and Tam going to be one of those.
I will say that I think it's great that it's not necessarily just the biggest names from the biggest countries, that players like Jakob Tam, a mixed division standout, the reigning champion as well, Filip Molnar, from the Slovakian who's been playing with Krit, he's on the team as well. And I think that's it's really good that kind of bringing that mismatch, and hopefully they're going to share a lot of knowledge across their teams. I know that my favourite player, Christina Talista's been announced as well. So, you know, I'm excited, but it's also great to see them balling out with their club teams as well. That one afloat and unable to be towed in. It would have been tough for Sinead to get there, but I think she just lost her field sense a little bit. Throw certainly could have put her in a better position. Norman comes underneath, and that is a pick.
Even prior to the pick, Benji, I think some of these Estonian players are starting to feel the burn. It's a lovely schedule here for the Elite Invite. You only have a maximum of 2 games per day, which means you get 6 across the course of the 3-day tournament format. So plenty of time to recovery even, and I think that will definitely be of benefit to Tartu's slightly shorter roster than most out here.
Yeah, and it's been a Baltic winter, so there's a reason we use that as an adjective for when the weather's cold. That one straight zipped through the fingers. And Sesquidsitus will get another shot. Too hot for Panksepp to handle. And just as soon as they turn it over, Sesquidsitus punish. It's sevens.
Well, we love to see it go back into a galaxy point situation. Of course, Tartu Turbulence. I know. This is a very, very rapid game. But Tartu up that one break when they made a move to take us to 6-5 from 5 apiece. So this to try and get themselves the 2 for none, as Stefan likes to call it. Or I'm a big progenitor of the buy one, get one free.
Yeah, of course you can get the 2 possessions back to back because they will be receiving to begin the second half. So score here and then get the disc to start the second half. You can score again and build yourself that little bit of separation. Maya Barantan on the assist. That's her second assist to go along with a goal as well. Player whose game I absolutely love.
Yeah, nice to see a little bit of levelling out as well. Some male matching connections now, some female matching connections. Still though at the front of the board for the stats for Sesquidsitus, Gaël Lancelot and Laurie Petitot.
Sesquidsitus again, it seems like the plan is to just slow down Tartu, see if they can take away the big play on which they so often thrive. Tartu, to their credit, not looking particularly flustered right now. Do have a player striking deep, but not going to put it just yet. Oh, just about secures it, does Tater. Little bobble, but disaster averted.
Yeah, Mr. Thrills and Spells is Daniel today in this this game.
Tam on the halfway mark. Hammering over the top, sees the soft spot. Kofi thought about closing in, and I think he just ended up bouncing off Pello there in the end, and hopefully he's okay, nothing more. One of my favourite Ultimate people, John Kofi. Just honestly, I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him. It's great on the pitch, great with a camera in his hand as well, and yeah, it's always nice to get the chance to speak to him whenever we cross paths at a tournament.
If anything, Benji, he's just too nice. Also, big shout out to the release of that hammer from Jakob Tam. Thing of beauty, the way he throws that disc.
So the transition to match coverage gets them in a little bit of a jam. Tam rises and brings down, and now leading into the end zone. Tartu hold on the Galaxy point, and they get an 8-7 lead, receiving into the second half. That is about as good a half as Tartu maybe could have hoped for. Certainly from an offensive perspective, given that their O-lines only turned the disc over once all game. A couple of slightly dicey moments, but generally Tartu have been good. Could they dial up the defensive pressure a little bit? I think probably they could, but hey, as it stands, they can just trade out this game and they'll see it through.
Absolutely, Benji, and yeah, I think you're right. It's we'd love to see Tartu really kind of think about putting some fresh legs out there, not trying to shorten their lines too quickly, making sure they're conserving energy and going out and giving themselves a bit more cushion. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you don't always get the chance to go to have the game play exactly as you would like us here. As Tater going up line for the score to take us into half. 8-7, Tartu Turbulence looking to pull the upset here potentially over Sesquidsitus.
Yes, he will.
The lovely disc.
Welcome back to the Elite Invite here in Leuven in Belgium. Benji Rees and Hannah Pendlebury's second half action about to begin. Tartu leading Sesquidsitus 8-7.
And what a game it has been so far, Benji. It's definitely been the upper hand for the defensive pressure of Sesquidsitus. They have been on the hips so frequently in this game, trying to put too much sort of, airspeed around Tartu Turbulence, try and shake their airplane out the sky if they can, but Jakob Tam always there to get them out of those sticky situations. He's rarely left the pitch, that number 7 for the Estonian club team. But we'll see what the second half has to bring, what tactical adjustments will be made. Neither team has a non-playing coach that I've spotted, so it's all about the leadership circles, just identifying what needs to be amended in this second stage of the game.
In the other game in this pool going on the field behind us, Deep Space lead disconnection 7-5. That's got the single camera Ulti TV coverage with Lorcan and Murray dialing in remotely. And on mixed pool B, Reading lead Manchot 7-4. That's AI cam with Francis Dieterle on the call. And 5-6 Nulak are down to Lemmings. That's VO streamed with no commentary, and you can watch that all here on Solid Sport with the overwhelming majority of the games here at Elite Invite live for your pleasure, and you can watch them back on demand as well. Tam sees the soft spot and zips it to Terra. Terra doesn't want the downfield option just yet. Player wide open on that far side, so why not take the pop to Pello?
Especially if it gains you yards.
Raba wants to get it off this line here, but Pello struggling to create separation. What a throw to open up the space to the soft spot, and then lead to Tam. And Tartu do the double, scored going into half and score coming out of it.
What on earth was that inside backhand shot from Marin Raba? You already mentioned it, Benji. She is the caliber of player that's going to end up becoming as much of a household name as her teammates Tam and Terra. But Raba, just 19 years old. Love this. Sort of, just you can see where the hand ends up just brushing against the grass. Great continuation play as well. Tam supporting role there. But wow, that break just really setting up a lovely bit of play for Tartu Turbulence.
Delicious, like a crisp Belgian waffle. Can you tell what I'm looking for when play finishes today?
Le Gouf, yes, I understand that you want to get yourself some of the local cuisine.
Maybe enjoy a local beverage or two.
I heard you were on the La Chouffe last night, Benji.
I was indeed enjoying a gnome. Here's Barontan now for Sesquidsitus, their O-line taking the field for the first time this half. Terra looking to prowl around downfield, switch actively, see if she can flash in for some blocks as Ansalan bounces and gets it back. Everything looking quite congested. Terra nearly did it there. Shanae is able to squeeze it down the line to Barontan, who snatches it, leaving nothing to chance. Barontan with a rainbow wristband on her right arm. Certainly a more methodical possession, this one, for Sesquidsitus after they were thriving off the quick stuff early in the game. Shanae. Shake and bake and the burn up line from Ansalan. Running the show in the backfield. Ansalan continues to distribute. Petito on the end zone line. Punches it in to Barontan. That's the way the Sesqui O-line wanted to start the second half, certainly.
Yeah, the unenviable matchup of Gaël Lancelin for Ingmar Norman, the 25-year-old. Not really too much of anything he can do there to try and deny the much more seasoned Gaël Lancelin, shall we say. There's almost a full decade of age between those two athletes.
Well, probably about a decade of experience as well, because Norman's only been playing a couple of years, so certainly I think Ansalan could probably teach him a trick or two.
Yeah, Arslan's forgotten more things about Ultimate than most people will ever know about this sport. Such a fantastic player. Of course, was a key part of the World Games squad for France last season.
It was indeed, and if France make it back to the next World Games taking place in Chengdu in China, would you bet against him being on the team again?
No.
I don't know if I would.
I would not take those odds.
Especially because he's so at home in the mixed division. Not that, of course, he can't do it wherever, but it's great being able to have players with so much mixed experience. As the pool sails into and through the end zone, out of that far side, Pello will take it to the brick mark. I think they were just taking it a little bit slowly to see what the plan was going to be defensively, and they've worked out that it's a match defense, and that's going to change how they play offense as well. Tam's taken off deep. They put double coverage on him, and well recognized there by Tedder to catch underneath. To the advantage as well, because when you have someone who is such a threat like that, often you do draw a couple of defenders. It opens up space for your offense. Loritz wrenches it deep. The 2-7s going up against each other. Tam got there earlier, but he overjudged it a little bit, and he has his hand up in apology because he thinks, and I think he's right, that he probably should have had that.
No, 100% Benji. He fluffed it. I think he let the moment get the better of him, felt the pressure from Gaël Ancelin, because who wouldn't?
But it's not just Ancelin, it was the help defender who was there as well, just to create that little bit of a bracket, that little bit of a squeeze. Tam not quite able to get the position that he would have liked potentially.
Well, he was just sort of hanging around at the back of the stack before that play went up. I was kind of in my head thinking, why is he just standing still? Why isn't he? And then I thought about it and went, actually, yeah, he's barely left the pitch the entire game. I think he's probably going to be one of a couple of players who will pull in probably about 80% of the pitch time.
Well, you mentioned that the format for the mixed division is that it's 2 games a day. It works out nicely, so the idea is that you can give your all, go full intensity for every point of every game, as a miscommunication there between Poros and Bru. Bit of a freebie, that one. Maybe that's a sign of the Sesquidsitus D-line that hasn't necessarily got too much time on disc this game. Raber again trapped on the sideline. We know she can find superlative ways of getting it off. This time it's a ground strip, I think, called by Loritz. Really good spirit, because I think he could have continued playing and no one would have called him on it, but he knew, and that is commendable. I think has also tacoed the disc a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely incredulous there. Really, that looked like it was fairly well held, and many players, I think, probably would have scrambled up with the disc, because I don't think anyone else had noticed. But, yep, massive play from the veteran.
This is now the first point all game where a side's turned it over on multiple occasions. So I think that tells you the quality of the offensive output we've seen here. Looks like there's some break side flow going. Bru. I was going to say I've seen her pop in toe at a few tournaments this past season, but I haven't seen sight of them so far here in Leuven. And Bru is really quarterbacking this offense after the turn. Can Poros get it off that line? Ancelin bobbles and drops. Interesting to see Ancelin coming over towards the D-line, and it nearly paid dividends to help with that offensive output after the turn. That one's gobbled up quickly by Ancelin.
Yeah, real shame there. You could see that temptation was there, and then just not the right option. Arsenal well matched for Jakob Tam.
I think this is the right option, by the way, because finally teams lacking a little bit of rhythm offensively, and you can see that they're tiring a little bit because the points have been so thick and fast that almost not expecting to be out there for 5 minutes or so. So John Kofi's going to call the timeout here. Sesquidsitus look to level this one. The Estonians up 9-8. what a game we have here. Tartu Turbulence, Sesquidsitus, back and forth the whole way. Just the one break that Tartu Turbulence managed to sneak away in the first half, and that's given them the advantage, of course, as we've gone on serve in the second. But Sesquidsitus have a chance to earn their first break here in plus territory, just across the halfway line. John Kofi opting to call the timeout, so he will bring the disc in as we look at how the French set up, and it seems like a quite old school conventional 2-5 vertical system. Justine Bru as the reset. We'll see how the Estonians mark up against it. Benji Rees and Hannah Pendlebury in the booth. What do you think the defensive play is here, Hannah?
Surround the stack, be intense for the first 3 seconds and switch if you need to.
Well, I think that looks about right to me. Kofi looks to break the mark. They scrambled that stack perfectly, but Sesquidsitus is doing the right thing when they're not seeing any movement downfield. Just being able to work it, marshal it through the handlers, slightly behind on Salam, but not a problem. Michon. Bru really tight on that sideline. You can see the demonstrative action. This is where I want it. Did Tam pinch that from Salam? I've been so enjoying these 2 sevens go at it.
Well, let's get another look here, Benji.
I think the disc is going to stay with Gaël Salam. It's so close.
Yeah, that's pretty much as close to simultaneous as you can get.
Here's Gwen Tessier. Beckons Kofi out and then looks to run the 1-2 with Bru. Into the front of the end zone. Arsalan left it. No idea why. I think he saw someone else, or maybe he was worried about a hefty collision. Either way, turn, disc goes up, traffic, and it's well wrestled back into possession by Michon.
Yeah, turnover signaled there, no call. Both players, I think, adding exactly the same amount of velocity and angle into that collision. But yeah, strange on that previous turnover from Sesquidsitus, Benji. I think Gaël Ancelon just looked at the shape of the disc and thought, surely that's not for me.
After we'd not had more than 2 turnovers on any point in this game before now, we've now seen 7. Strange one.
I'm not surprised though, the early stages of the second half, you do see teams start to figure each other out as we see a lovely lateral diamond shot into the end zone for Sesquidsitus. So they do grind that one out and get the break back.
And they're going to need to find another one, but that is a good start for the French. When that disc went up and a couple of players left it, I wondered surely they've not managed to squander it again. But Gwen Tessier obviously had the boot on it early. The communication was there, and Sesquidsitus are certainly making a game of this. Not that you would necessarily expect anything else, Anna. This is what they're all about.
Absolutely, and a timeout being taken by Tartu Turbulence. I think they want to just take a little bit of a breather here and steady the ship after conceding that break of score. So we'll take a break here as well in the booth though. Can Tartu hang on to their nose in front of the French? We'll find out.
Get there. Yes, he will.
The lovely did.
Come on, Brett.
9-9. This game is tight as you like here at the Elite Invite. This is the reason why you come to tournaments like this. 8 of the best in open, women's and mixed, and it's mixed here action we have for you now. Sesquidsitus the storied French program up against the Estonian upstarts of Tartu Turbulence. By the way, love saying that name. It just really makes me grin. It's nines here in Leuven.
Can you really call them upstarts, though, if they are already an established European Championship winning club team?
Well, I guess they are now, but I think certainly a couple of years ago, if people had been talking, if Tartu Turbulence were the buzz team, I think they'd ask you, is Tartu a place, or is that, have I missed something? Because with all due respect, Estonia is not necessarily considered a hotbed of ultimate, but it's proving why it's earned and is fully deserving of its place here. Tartu Turbulence taking the time, and I think just to rest some weary legs, because they are running a much shorter roster, of numbers I should say, than their opponents, because there is plenty of stature there, both literal and metaphorical. Raba with a beautiful break to lead, and Raba gets it back. Trying to run the show here, thought about the quick dish off to Teda. Luritz faking the up line. Raba's got space in the backfield, and that's dangerous because she has it and then bang, she's gone as soon as it's out of her hand. Luritz, Tam cutting towards that far break side. The Estonians just staying patient. Luritz wants to throw and go. They run the peel and switch on the mark. Good communication, good adaptation there by Sesquidsitus. Putting a bit of air underneath it. It's a floater. It was over her head and she just lost her footing, did Clara Leet, and she's going to have to take an injury sub as well. It's not one you want to see.
Yeah, that's a real shame for Leet. Tracking the disc really very well. You kind of think, well, maybe she might just have to sort of do a backwards teddy bear roll to keep that one alive, but just that little bit too much loft. Doesn't really commit to the bit and run with it, but hopefully she'll be okay, because as we've already mentioned, Benji, the shorter lines, it's going to start to grind down the ability to keep toe-to-toe with these Sesquidsitus athletes.
Helen Terra's not a bad player to be able to bring on off the injury stoppage, though.
That does mean less rest time for Helen Terra, and she is, I think, just a human being.
Oh, I'm not convinced.
Demigod, maybe, demigod level.
Tessier, oh, what a hand block by Jakob Tam! How do you read that one?
By being Jakob Tam.
Fair, you know what? Fair play, I can't argue with that. I mean, he fully sold out, and he could have been made a right fall there if Tessier had held onto it, but he didn't, and he looks a genius.
Skills, mate. Solid techers.
Well, you can't win the lottery without buying a ticket, and I mean, he's cashed in a big one there. What a sick layout hand block. Love it. Seen a few of those this weekend, and I don't think it can help give you anything but goosebumps when you see it. Terra with the backwards baseball cap as ever. Raba to Luritz. Luritz uncorks the big hammer, and Tam drops.
Oh,
it was one of those where it's just helixing at the very end. He tried to snatch it with the crab, and it came out of his hands.
Mate, that was so awkward. I literally was just thinking about what I was going to say to finish the point. That should have been in the bag.
It should have been, and I don't think Tam will need telling that either. But mistakes happen. You got to pick your head up, go again. Chance for him to get a sick layout hand block, I guess.
I know. I guess giveth and taketh away. But give Guy Lancelot the disc too many times, he can do pretty magical things with it.
Breaking around with the inside. I knew what I meant. And now Ansalan has it back. Again, Tam taking that matchup. That is a box office. Just been brought some canned beverages. Jet set. I heard they had 45 volunteers here this weekend, which for a 4-pitch tournament, I love that commitment.
Oh, they are an entire crew.
Well,
caught up with one of the TOC, Max Vianney, yesterday afternoon. He said, We've already finished. I'm suspicious. It's gone too smoothly.
Well, when you consider that they've got an open and women's team playing as well as, well, finish that point as Petito goes down the line and Sesquidsitus steal the lead back that they surrendered midway through the first half. Petito slots it into Michon, and Sesquidsitus back on top. It's 10-9.
So wait for the fresh, crisp sound of beverages opening in our booth. Nice refreshments though. Yeah, fantastic scenes here in Leuven. We were ever so impressed with their first effort at running a European Federation event with the spring tour that they hosted and only went and gone and won last season here in Leuven. Slightly more inclement conditions, of course. That one was a wet and rainy one, but actually despite the conditions felt really pleasant to be at. The atmosphere here is absolutely fantastic. I have to say, I'm not surprised at how well the Belgian teams have come on the past couple of years with the community sense and all these kind of, you know, programs generating these zesty juniors that have been doing lots of fun things. But talking about junior programs though, Sesquidsitus, of course, have managed to benefit from much of that junior development that's happening in the various hubs across the border, a little bit west of here in Belgium, over in France.
I mean, you look at some of the nations that are consistently bringing home medals at the EUCF events over the past half decade, a little bit more, and France is always up there, always.
Oh my goodness, that women's team from the EUCF final last season in Padova was absolutely scandalous, Benji.
They were indeed. The point I was going to make about Jet Set, by the way, they've got an open and a women's team playing here. They've also got a mixed team out in, well, not too far from here in the grand scheme of things, out in Ghent for the Gentle Supreme Party Oh Yeah tournament. The O can stand for outdoor, but it doesn't. And yes, they've got an army of volunteers here as well, and I think that just shows how big and the club is and the strength of Belgian Ultimate. And they're getting the chance to watch the strength of French and Estonian Ultimate right now. That one a little bit awkward, but an adjustment made and a little bit of contact, unfortunately, underneath it.
Yeah, immediately accepted by the mark of Cedric Vaganatrusis.
Sapolkov is the player who got a little bit of a bump. Terra. Here's Tam. Certainly slower going at this point. Just trying to get that one out into space. That was really well read by Faramelli. And Faramelli just slaps it away. Tartu running out of steam a little bit now. Brew again calling for calm, order, as that's definitely an ice cream van I can hear in the background, although I was told that if you can hear it, it means they're out, as it seems that maybe Tartu are out on their feet right now, because that is 1, 2, 3, 4 on the spin for Tartu after a clean hold. Sorry, for Sesquidsitus after a clean hold for the Estonians to start the half. Sesquidsitus have ran away with it in a hurry.
And we have a future star of the Ultimate field trotting on, saying, "I'm ready, put me in, coach," featuring a dashing yellow hat. Yeah, I think if I'm going to have to put my finger on it at the end of this game, if we don't see, it is an if in italics, if we don't see the Tartu Turbulence ascendance and a huge comeback in the latter stages. I mean, you've still got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, there's plenty of time left in the game, and the great thing about Ultimate, of course, is that you do need to score that last point to win. You cannot just drain clock. There's no hard time cap here. You've got to actually get it over the line, whatever it takes, and that means that you can see these sensational comebacks.
But the point I was going to make was, if you have to kind of wind back the clock and think about the moment where this game pivoted into a very different direction, it's not all on that two players that made that play, but that dropped hammer from Jakob Tam in acreage in the end zone. That seemed to be a bit of a moment of unsettling for this Tartu Turbulence team.
Terra to Tam, back to Terra. Rabers on the bike. Not a lane through, as Tessier thought he came mighty close to a hand on that one. Luritz, can he find the break? No, because the inside window is shut by Moboguet. uncorks it. Got to play a striking deep, but there is coverage, and Tam rises and climbs Jacob ladder and swats it away dismissively.
Yeah, getting another look at that one. Just goes up really strong, nice and early.
He does go up really early, and he just gets that hang time as well.
He's a big boy. He has quite the vertical.
And he's not afraid to unleash it on the throwing end either. Can he drop this one in the bucket? No. The position there from Morboguet, catching her second, well, not catching, but picking up, I should say, her second block of this point.
Yeah, Anaïs Morboguet, just 25 years of age, only been playing since the age of 21, so slightly later to the game than some of the French athletes we're used to seeing out in the field. Of course, a Strasbourg native. And well defended for sure. So Preux will bring us back into action here.
And Preux dishes off to Tessier. The two of them just playing in their own end zone at the moment. Not a huge amount going on away from the disc for Sesquidsitus. Still certainly within the shadow of their own line, but beginning to get a bit more movement now. Saint-Jean. Back to Preux. The path through, flashed in to get the block, but didn't, and now that means a player's burning deep. Nice peel in the deep space just to cover that option initially, but still Sesquidistas plough and pile forward. Tessier leading into space with the swing. Continuation. Preux a couple of yards from Payder, able to stop, falls over in delighted exhaustion. Evan Charnet with the score. That's not 71, is it? I'll have to double check the rosters because Charnet's definitely got the feather in his cap. Either way.
Yeah, Evan Charnet, 71 on our...
It's 12-9.
On our roster. It's definitely the right person, but I just want to talk a little bit, Benji, about the workmanship, the quality trades being shown here in the late stages of this game by Sesquidistas. Their shot selection on their options are just really lovely. They are happy to chisel away at the marble and sculpt themselves into these breaks. They're not rushing, they're not hasty. There are a couple of moments of miscue for sure because it's your D-line. This is not your top quality of offense we're going to come out of Sesquidistas, but they are really just taking their time and just creating beautiful shapes out here. We love to see this quality of offense in the late stages of a game.
Yes, Sesquidistas just sticking to their task, been able to grind down their Estonian opponents. They have a 3-point lead. Can they close it out? We'll find out when Elite Invite returns.
Come on, Brett!
12-9, Sesquidistas have put 5 on the spin against Tartu Turbulence, whose hopes are fading into the evening light here in Leuven. Benji Rees and Hannah Pendlebury, mixed division action here. On the field behind us, the other game in this pool, Deep Space, looking to get back-to-back victories on day one. They lead Disconnection 11-8. Disconnection dropped 15-11 to Sesquidistas this morning. That's on the single Ulti-TV camera. And you have Lorcan Murray on the commentary for that one. Over in Pool B, on the VO streamed fields, Reading have a 9-10 lead over Manchot. That's Francis Ditali on the commentary, and on the non-commentated field, it's tied at 9s between Nulact and Lemmings. There you are, there's your state of play as it stands right now in the mixed division. An adjustment from the pool is going to force Tartu right back into their own end zone, and you would forgive the Callahan thinking didn't even get it out of my mouth. waiting and lurking, and Sesquidsitus can't believe their luck.
Well, you make your own luck in this game, Benji, and that 100% came out of an absolute stunner of a pulse. Tartu did not get it moving quick enough, did not have enough action coming from the downfield, and just beautiful scenes. We've seen Sesquidsitus really get the number of this Tartu Turbulence team as the course of this second half has dragged on. We had that mammoth point which went in favour of the Strasbourg side. Of course, 7 turnovers to just get us to 9-9 to get another look at that celebration. But they're just picking off so many of these underneath passes. Even before we saw this Callahan, a number of defensive blocks have come from those near side spaces where they are sort of sagging, clogging the lanes, doing intelligent things on defense of this French side, and well deserved for Lauritz to get that Callahan.
It's interesting to me because it's not necessarily the signs of physical fatigue, although the fact that they're beginning to take more time out to the Estonians, I think, does indicate that as well. It's been very hot today relative for this point of the season in Leuven, so you've got to stay hydrated. Certainly very important. Cheers, by the way. And it's the mental mistakes as well, just not quite on the same page. Who's going to catch the ball? Is it me? Is it you? And then you let it drop and you're in your own end zone, and before you know it, one error in that territory is fatal. Tam just sits that one underneath Lauritz with those gloved hands, trying to manipulate the mark. Swings high, but not a problem for Tam.
Yeah, I'm getting a very familiar feeling, Benji. I already mentioned that I watched the previous game for Tartu Turbulence against Deep Space, and they really did do absolute damage against the Londoners and those reigning European champions from last season. But it is just a little bit, as you say, those missed connections.
Nice inside seam exploited there by Lauritz. Norman on the reception. Leading Linth, and the simple pop-up into the end zone, and Tartu can finally get the tourniquet on. They've stopped the bleeding, but 6 on the spin for Sesquidsitus has probably sunk their chances, but at least they can get the defense on the field and start to see if they can cook something up.
Yeah, I love the fact that Tartu are, apart from their solitary Lithuanian ally,
they are an all-Estonian outfit.
Exactly, so there's none of that kind of, you know, international flavour. Of course, at the top of the standings in all of the divisions here, bar a few, we have plenty of international love. And of course, mega cities that attract young athletes to them as well. It's not just about inviting your friends from other nations, other cities to come and bolster your squad. But my mind kind of thinks, well, sometimes if you can't grow your own, since everyone else is doing it, I'm not saying that Tartu should necessarily dilute their squad, certainly not for the indoor championships where they are supremely good, of course taking that silver medal at the most recent iteration of the club championships on the indoor format. But
what I am saying is give me a call.
Well, I mean, you add a lot of depth to a roster, Benji. But that's what I'm thinking with the Tartu. They have such high quality, but maybe not quite the depth required to really hang tough against just this higher quality of opposition across all of the weekend.
Yeah, carrying certainly fewer numbers than most over this long May weekend.
Whereas in a normal tournament format where you have the pool stages against maybe some softer opponents where you can run and be a bit more loose through your lines, maybe that makes a little bit of a difference and an advantage sometimes to the Estonians.
You do not have that luxury at the Elite Invite, of course, with 8 of the best in each division. It's a battle every single game, but that's why you come to these tournaments, to test yourself against that quality of opposition. Sesquidsitus just outside the end zone, and that's as far as they're going to go. The block comes in, just a little hand to swat it there from Laura Lepik. Can they get the comeback going? Well, we know they've been able to do some damage here, and they're already just shy of midfield. Ilves goes back to Lemba. Has the underneath, but maybe a little bit of a push off there. potentially against Arsalan downfield, or potentially a pick further away. Another stoppage. I think players, as you can tell, maybe just not quite the same energy, so getting a little bit more clustered and cluttered, getting more picks beginning to occur. Lepik is able to get the disc back to Lemba. Big pump fake. Lemba opens and uncorks. This one's sitting and hanging, and Arsalan had that all the way. Not the best deep throw, but the consistent pressure, I think, there forced Lemba to try and roll the dice, and his numbers did not come up. Instead, it came up with the lucky number 7 for Sesquidsitus, that is, of Gael Arsalan. Nice break around, taking advantage of the double coverage. Petito. Got no mark, so is just taking his time, doesn't want to throw unless it's a sure thing. Goes with the offhand to lead Arsalan into a little bit of space, and Arsalan pops to the front of the end zone, where collected comfortably by Antoine for the score. Sesquidsitus 1 away from the win.
Yeah, you can really see the discipline in that end zone offense. I mean, lots of people have become haters of the vertical stack, especially in the end zone. I mean, I still remember when we first started our playing careers, Benji, that was the only show going was playing a bit of vertical stack, especially in, you know, even in shortened fields. Now you get all sorts of crazy mischief and business. But I do like the fact that Sesquidsitus are happy to sit on their heels and wait and be disciplined. Oftentimes you'll see teams, especially when you get to this stage where you have that 4-point cushion or 3-point cushion, you say, you know, we've been going on runs of breaks, we've been swaggering all over the pitch, and it really does make a huge difference to that vibe. But to stick with your roles, have your discipline maintained, not just trying to be like, let's try and get a freebie, let's try and do something a little bit dirty, a little bit different. Just biding your time, waiting for the moments, and sinking these through. So first match point of many for Sesquidsitus.
Gonna get 5 chances to close them out, and you can bet they'll be hoping to only take the one, because you might have heard this over the years. Good teams finish on defense. They break to win. They don't wait for their O-line to get out there. That will be the task immediate hand for Sesquidsitus. But a slightly shorter pull there means the Estonians already at midfield. Rubber airs it out, and that is free money.
All right, so we're going to get the power O-line probably, or actually maybe not complete power, not throwing all the fire out onto the pitch, but we do have Maël Barentin, Gaël Arsalan, Laurie Petitot. Yeah, that makes sense. Who else we got?
Céline Antoine, it looks like is heading over.
Yeah, that also tracks.
I think we'll see a lot of the big hitters here, because just finish it, get it done, and we can enjoy the last round of the day with a Belgian beer in hand.
Yeah, Gwendoline Chenet looks to be staying in the pocket for this one. She's also had herself a very fantastic game for this French club side.
A couple of goals for her.
Indeed, so you got to leave yourself a little bit of fire left to throw. But let's see if they can take it in one, or if Tartu are going to start to make this interesting, Benji. They definitely have the grit.
Barentin. Not really liking what she sees in front. Trying to lead Arsalan to the space. And Arsalan, after the layout, is able to get there. Barentin asked the question, and Arsalan had the answer.
He's been sneaking in the teacher's textbook, that's why.
Nice bouncing back and forth, pinballing it around in the backfield. Now there's a little bit of pace and urgency. Barentin, will she pull the trigger? No, I think she's going to play safety first. Let's not rush things. Let's end it here. And let's do that by taking our time. Petito out into space for Antoine. Antoine to Barentin, and Sesquidsitus do get it done. 15-11 final score.
You know what my favourite thing about that point is, Benji? It's the fact that the O-line, I mean, obviously a couple of them have been playing crossover points and doing bits here and there with their D-line compatriots, but the way in which the Sesquidsitus O-line just treasured the disc there was that little moment of magic where Gaël Lancelot had to go for the layout, although for him, it's pretty much every day at the office. But the way they played, as you say, they just wanted to end it cleanly, smoothly, a nice hold in very short shrift. Well done, Sesquidsitus. You did it.
Yeah, 15-11 final score. A good day's work for Strasbourg with 2 victories to their name, and Tartu Turbulence have gone down in both contests, but fought wonderfully to the end in both. They'll have a chance to see if they can notch a win on the board in their final pool play game tomorrow against Disconnection, who might be heading in 0-2 as well. Deep Space currently up 14-10 in that one. On the pitch behind us, the single cam OTTV coverage with Lorcan Murray in remotely. On the mixed pool B, Nulact and Lemmings are tied at 12s on the lonely VO field, I'll call it, while Manchot have taken the lead against Reading, 12-11 there, and Francis d'Italie is bringing you that one. Stay tuned because we have one more round of action here to go at the Elite Invite for day 1 into the women's division for the last round of the day. We're going to wrap up the pool play phase here on the showcase pitch with Box from Austria taking on Jinx Midnight. We might have to keep your eyes peeled to see what comes up next here at the Elite Invite. Your final score is Sesquidsitus 15, Tartu Turbulence 11.